Royal wedding. Why Brits don't care. So it's hard to make this video, given that most things I make videos about on YouTube tend to be things I'm passionate about. And this, as a Brit, is something I really just don't care about. As do 2/3 of Brits, a recent poll suggested. But doesn't mean we hate the royal family or swoon over them either. We're just indifferent. In this video, we'll be exploring what modern day Brits think of their monarchy and why. So Britain's love or hate for the royals isn't really a partition between Republicans on one side and royalists on the other. Instead, most people either like the idea of them and don't care about them, or don't like the idea of them but don't hate them enough to care. I would also like to mention our Queen has no control over our democracy. She is simply a ceremonial monarch, meaning she cuts ribbons and reveals plaques for a living, but doesn't stop bills in Parliament, although she does pass royal assent on bills, which is more of a formality. Nevertheless, British opinion of her ranges from good to bad. So let's explain it more on a scale. At the top end of the scale, you have the obsessors. Those who camp outside the royal grounds before these events. Those who collect multiple pieces of royal memorabilia and always hold street parties to celebrate their monarchy. To the rest of us Brits, this is what it seems like America and the media are. They're doing it to sell TV coverage and papers. But this area is where capitalism is at its peak. The people in this camp only see the economic benefits of the monarchy and see everything else as unpatriotic. These people make out like the royals are perfect in every way and they worship and defend their every action, no matter how controversial. The BBC's royal coverage is particularly like this, following the royals' every move and analysing the most mundane of activities. Moving down the scale are people with lives. These people might hold a street party on occasion and watch the footage, but they're not obsessors. People in this camp tend not to buy royal memorabilia unless they're going to a street party that suits it. They can see the benefits the royal family has to tourism and have memories of the coronation in post-war Britain, but to them it's a side note that goes by and has no effect on their daily lives. They can see flaws in the royals. They blame Meghan for all the problems associated with the wedding. They remember Diana dying, Camilla being with Charles instead, Meghan Markle's dad issues, and the problems created by being automatically thrust into the public eye. Instead of criticising the royal family, they see it as a natural flaw with which to empathise with. They are supportive, but not obsessive. Let's go down again to the indifferent people. These are people who are starting to get a bit more annoyed. They may or may not watch the footage, but certainly won't attend a party or buy any memorabilia. They see the royal family as pointless. Yes, they're there for tourism and stuff, but taxpayers' money pays for nothing other than a heavily worshipped celebrity family. These people hate celeb culture and turn off from any media about people they don't care about. But they don't hate them enough to get the media talking about getting rid of them, because to these people, their media obsession with them is the most inane, boring, and annoying thing they can think of. They simply don't care. So now we have the people who are starting to dislike the royal family. They're fed up with their taxes going to spend these people's lavish lifestyles. They don't understand why it's being shown at all. After all, it's just somebody's wedding, only sheeple worship. They dislike the idea that a child is thrust into the media like this. They can see blatant capitalism and media control of the nation to force us to like them. They hated the way the royals treated Diana. They blame Harry and the royal institution for all the problems associated with the weddings. They see it all as a pointless waste of money and time. And finally, you have the hard-line Republicans. These people see the Queen and the royal family as a fascist regime. They hold on to memories of the bloodshed caused by our colonial past. A colonial past that led to ravishing countries for their worth and leaving them useless dumps. They believe the Commonwealth shouldn't be celebrated. After all, it's just the group of countries we once invaded. They remember the fact that the Queen has German heritage and associate it with the Nazis in World War II. They are the anti-royal, hardline protesters. Some of them might be Northern Irish or Scottish, and for them the royal family is just another wheel in the country they don't see themselves as part of. Most Republicans tend to be on the left of politics, associating the monarchy with the divisions between rich and poor, the lack of opportunity facing the poor, and the unfair advantages given to the rich. These people hate the royals at all costs. So when an event like the royal wedding happens, most Brits fluctuate between any of these moods. For example, in post-war Britain, it's quite a relief for people to hold street parties in celebration of the Queen's coronation. Diana's death led some Brits into supporting the royal family, and others blamed them for the events that led to her death. Even if it was an accident, she died as a result of being associated with the royals. Kate and William's wedding was widely celebrated because we all got a day off, and so many street parties were held. But Harry is sixth in line to the throne, so we're mostly pretty much in the middle camp and don't care. The media in the country, on the other hand, tend to be much more obsessed than the public is. For example, last year they extensively covered Pippa Middleton's wedding when most didn't even recognise the event because she's not royal. Then you have America. Now that we have an American in the royal family, America is swooning over them and frothing at the mouth. If any country is responsible for intervening in foreign affairs without taking responsibility, it's America. I fear that America will push the royal family to breaking point again, whether it's a breakup, a scandal, a death, a succession to the throne, or a baby. Something is going to be pushed, prodded, poked by the media. If anything, I think the media abuse of the royal family keeps the public on side of them, while we tend to ignore the hysteria over here. I don't feel like we're going to give them up anytime soon, but we might get bored to death. Do you agree with me? Join in the debate below and subscribe.